This is transactional entertainment lawyer Joshua Lastine, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1Mike and the rest of the comic crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, and Image to IDW, Boom Studios, and Zenescope, we have everything right here. We cover things like Transformers, He-Man, superheroes, TMNT, and Radiant Black. Yeah, we have all that and so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So, without further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we're reading right now, here inside the pull bag.
Me Grimlock, not podcaster, me Grimlock King.
Hello everyone, this is TFG1Mike from the Geekcast Radio Network. This is the Pull Bag, episode 564 to 569. You're going to hear this exact same clip in all of these episodes. These are syndicated episodes from my buddy Jesse Earley's podcast, Another Comic Review. We have already released these over on his podcast, and because it's the end of the year 2024, and I need some content for the pull bag, I am syndicating them here. They are in their unaltered entirety as they appear on Another Comic Review. So please, have a listen. This is G.I. Joe and Void Rivals. You'll hear those comics being reviewed in episodes 564 to 569, only on the Geekcast Radio Network's The Pull Bag. Thanks for listening.
This is Another Comic Review, episode 28, recorded August 25th, 2024. Welcome to another episode of Another Comic Review. My name is Jesse, and as always, I am joined by TFG1Mike from GeekCastRadio.com. How goes it, Mike?
Well, I'm better than this Dismal Destro series. I know we'll get into it, but first impressions of issue 3. Some of Mr. Waters' writing is really worded badly. You are only their assassin, but to ensure these coordinates are forgotten, I will scour the memory of the cerebral cortex of your corpse. I'll use steel wool. This is something Destro actually says in the comic. Who talks like this? I feel like this writer is a George Lucas type, big idea person, but can't execute those ideas well and needs others to polish everything up. Yes, folks, polishing a turd. I get that there are only 20 pages of story, and that this is Destro's story, but I hope we get more with Chameleon at some point.
I mean, maybe?
Maybe.
We'll get to that. That's kind of one of my potential issues / complaints about this. So, if you couldn't tell, our first topic for this podcast is Destro number 3 by Dan Waters, Andrea Milana, Adriano Lucas, and Russ Wooten. I think we got it that time. All right. Quick synopsis.
Nobody will ever know how many takes that took us.
Quick synopsis from ImageComics.com. Stranded in the mountains without any weapon, Destro must survive the Chameleon's wrath. But who is the Chameleon, and why do they want Laird Destro's dead? I don't know. My quick rundown. We opened where we concluded issue 2 in the Scottish Highlands. That was my really bad Scottish impression. With Destro leaving the Destro clan tomb, he spots Chameleon, a blonde-haired female sniper dressed in red with a white coat, who takes a shot. Destro attempts to use his own electronic missile weapon, but discovers that a local EMP is preventing it from working. Destro is hit by the bullet. A fight breaks out between the two of them. The Chameleon brings in Sirens to help with their attacks. We smash cut to Destro, handcuffed at a table, telling someone the story of how the Destro clan came to wear a metal mask. We close with Destro explaining how he came to be handcuffed, as it is revealed that he is sitting across the table from General Flagg. So now that I've made it through that, what are your thoughts and review of Destro number 3?
I need more Chameleon and less Destro. I want to know more about Chameleon. Like I said earlier, this is only 20 pages of story, which is fine. That's the standard comic pages for story. That's fine. But I need to know more about Chameleon. I don't necessarily need her backstory, but I want more with her. I want more action with her. I want more story with her in the current day. I like that they did the backstory with Destro, and I like the surprise that he's talking to General Flagg. But other than that, I don't know. This issue is just kind of there. Yeah, I mean, overall, it wasn't as bad as the first two issues. It's not improved, but it's not like horrible. Some of Mr. Waters's wording needs help, but other than that, I didn't walk away from this like feeling like I want to give up.
Oh man!
Whereas the first two issues, I really wanted to give up.
I'm almost hesitant to say that that's a potentially positive review.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Kind of.
All right. Well, if you're on the positivity train, I'm going down the negativity alley here because I hated this issue. Hated everything
Really?
about it from start to finish, like literally everything. I don't. So they've issue 2. They talked up the chameleon, right? It was like, oh, right, this chameleon character, he's coming for Destro, right? Or she's coming for Destro. I guess at the time we didn't know if it was a he or she. Now we know it's a female.
Yep.
But why am I supposed to care about this? Again, they played up the character. They sold it as being like this big, I don't know, fight between the two of them. By the simple fact of there's a couple of different covers that feature them. They're fighting. I just saw some in person today when we went to the local comic shop. But this fight just ends. It just ends. We don't know how it concludes. We don't see the end of it. And the chameleon's just out there. Still don't know who the chameleon is. And at this point, I don't care anything about the character. If this was supposed to make me care about that character, I don't. So they failed in that regard. And then the smash cut to him just being handcuffed and talking to General Flag. It's like, what? Why? Why is that?
But the smash cut.
I mean, he's given this backstory about. This is not even about him, right? It's about some ancestor.
Right. It's about his ancestor. But before that, we get the cut to Tomax, Zamoth, and everything they're doing. So yeah, that's
no. They're not in this.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
That's Mercer.
Oh no, they're not.
They're at Mars.
Oh, that's right. We're at Mars. Okay.
So it's like she brings in the drones. He starts fighting a drone. Then he's riding a drone, and it crashes, and somehow he survives that. And then we just see him walking through the snow, and then it's like. But again, that's kind of told through like the story that he's telling General Flag. Like we don't actually see that in quote unquote real time in the comic. It's sort of like retelling that. And then he's riding in the back of a truck on some hay bales, just walking into a base. And it's like, oh, now I'm handcuffed here and I'm talking to General Flag. It's like, I don't, this whole thing just seemed like a jumbled mess to me.
And the funny thing is, as I'm cycling through these pages, this does not feel like 20 pages. It feels like 10. I know it's not 10 pages. I know it's 20, but like,
I mean, there were several pages though with like no words on it, right? It's just panels of, I guess in this case, action, right? Because he's fighting the chameleon, or we're seeing him fight the drones. But it just seems like it's an all over the board mess. I don't know any other way of saying it.
Yeah, well, this whole comic series so far has been an all-over-the-board mess. I mean, the first 2 issues were trash.
Yeah, but you gave it a positive review.
Yeah, well, this one, yes, but only because, like, it's... Okay, again, it's his story. It's not supposed to be anybody else's story but his, so we need to follow it from his perspective, but at the same time, like I said, I want to see more. I'm liking... Like, I get it, not necessarily the feminine mystique, but I'll use that term. But like the whole super secret, oh my god, she's a mystery woman kind of thing with Chameleon makes me want to see more of this character because I actually like her design. I like how she's fighting him. I think that's cool. The art is amazing in this. It really, really is. It's just the writing that makes it suffer. But the thing is that we have 2 separate things here. We have the snow battle, we have, well, technically 3, the stuff at Mars, and then we go into the backstory, and thank God they did the backstory here, because they tee that up. They keep teeing up the backstory in the first 2 issues when he's talking about Clan Destro, Clan this, Clan that, ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed form into Destro, blah, blah, blah. And then we finally see the backstory of his ancestor. And then the twist at the end is that he's I like the twist at the end. Like, literally, I'm like, okay, where's number 4? So we can go ahead and get one issue closer to finishing this off.
So my question to you then would be like, what about it is interesting that he's sitting there across from General Flag?
I didn't expect, like, okay, we know he's telling the story to somebody, right? Like, we see the one page where it's the 6 panels where he's talking, because or is that part of the flashback? Anyway, the point is that it's one of those story beats where you know that Destro is talking to somebody, but we don't know who it is. And when we find out, like, General Flag would be the last person I would expect. Like, I would not expect, like, yeah, we saw him go into the base, but he could have been talking to anybody else in that base. Other than, I mean, General Flag is kind of the obvious choice, I guess, but, like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, it felt different to me. It felt like, this felt like a better cliffhanger than either of the first 2 issues have.
I mean, maybe. Like, I know really very little about G.I. Joe. And what I do know is just comes from the G1 cartoon episodes I've seen. So I did look up General Flag at Joepedia, Wikipedia here, or Joepedia's Pedia?
Joepedia, yep.
Yeah. So it says, before Hawk ever came to lead the G.I. Joe team, there was General Flag. This military man was known for his ability to select the right men for any mission, applying the right strategy. While he was never the field commander type, he is willing to do what is necessary should the occasion that he is placed in the field arise. So, question. We know there are, quote unquote, going to be 2 separate teams. Right, yes. There's the Duke team, and then there's this other team.
Yep.
Do you think General Flag plays into that at all?
Oh, I'm sure he will at some point. I don't know when, but I'm sure he will.
Do you think he'll head up one of the teams?
See, that's the funny thing, because normally and again, I'm just as G.I. Joe illiterate as you are when it comes, or ignorant, I should say. You know, we're both coming from, and I probably have seen more of the G.I. Joe series than you have, even though
100%.
Even though I haven't watched it in like 40 years. I really need to get out those DVDs and start watching it, because whatever. But the reason why I haven't started watching it yet is because I want to see what Mr. Waters and my good friend Kelly Thompson over on the Scarlett series does with these characters without having too much of a influence or an expectation of what came 40 years ago in a cartoon. And that's the only reason why I have not dug those DVDs out yet, is because I want to see where they're going. I know enough of G.I. Joe to where, okay, Cobra this, Cobra that, Cobra la, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I know Destro, and I know General Flag, and I know General Hawk, and I know Flint, and Lady J, and Duke, and Scarlett, and all these other characters. But that's why I'm kind of liking going into this fresh and making up my own mind without 40 years of baggage. Because or technically 42 years of, 41 years of baggage. 83 was G.I. Joe. I don't know. I don't freaking know. One of them years. One of them damn years. 83, 84, 85. It all blends together. 85 technically for the cartoon, I think. But anyway, it's just one of those things where, yes, the first 2 issues, we had a lot of issues with it. But as I've read both of these comics, Destro and Scarlett #3, I've read them multiple times since we were going to do the recording, whatever, just to make sure I had it straight in my head. And as I read Destro right before this recording again, I looked at it and I'm like everything I've already said. I want to see more with Chameleon. I like the twist of it's not really a super twist. It's not like, oh my God, most shocking, but it kind of felt shocking to me that he was talking to General Flag. I figured he would be talking to some flunky, like they would stick some flunky in his way. Like normally you see someone like Destro, I want to speak to General Flag now. Well, sorry, sir. General Flag's kind of busy, so we're going to have you speak to intern number 7 or whatever kind of thing. So, but yeah, no, I'm kind of turning around on this series. Lord knows what the hell's going to happen in issue 4, but here's hoping.
Well, If it wasn't for this podcast of mine here, I wouldn't be reading
you'd
this
be
series
out
at all. I'd have been done after the first issue. So, what I do find interesting about General Flag here, because again, a Hawk is the one kind of leading GI Joe in the Energon universe.
Right.
The General Flag here, if can count correctly, and I think I know how to count to one. He's only a one-star general, which seems kind of odd to me, but.
Yeah, that's wait, do they even show his?
Yeah, it's up on his shoulder there.
Oh yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, I don't know how they're starting this. Maybe he is, and he doesn't look like again, usually you have General Hawk and then General Flag is above him or whatever. But I mean, we all know the Energon universe is futzing with time like Doc Brown with Mr. Coffee, but or Mr. Insta Fusion, whatever the hell. I don't know.
Mr. Coffee.
Whatever. Like maybe he did just get promoted to general. Maybe he's only in his mid to late 40s. Maybe he's not. He doesn't look super old here. He looks like he's, I would say, somewhere between 39 and 45.
Well, what I can say is the fact that we've spent the most amount of time talking about the last page of this issue should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I continue to be disappointed by this series. Again, if we weren't recording this podcast, we weren't covering the Energon universe, I would have stopped after issue 1. So, not a fan. So there's only 2 left. I am curious to see how General Flag plays into any of this, and whether or not we see or hear any more about Cobra Commander. Right, he showed up in the first issue, and we haven't seen him since. So, kind of curious to see if he shows up anymore at all.
Yeah,
but there seems to be
know
he seems to be having this back and forth battle with Zamet and Tomax. So I don't know. All right, anything else on Destro number 3?
Don't think so. If I was giving it 1 to 5, I would probably give it a.
How about this?
1.5?
What if you don't give it a rating? How about a buy, a maybe, or a no buy?
I as much as I kind of came around on issue 3, I still would not recommend the series overall to anyone to read it because it's just such bad writing.
Okay. I think the best thing about this particular issue is the cover, and maybe that last page of the story. But the cover shows like more action between the 2 characters than I think we really see in the issue itself. So it continues to be a no buy for me. Even if you find it for free, be like, nah, I'm going to set that over here and just ignore it.
I mean, if you got to do a podcast about it, you might as well find it for free if you can. Yeah, well, find it for free if you can.
Well, I didn't find it for free. I paid for it, so
that's why I said if you
can. Moving on to topic number 2, which is Scarlett number 3. That's by Kelly Thompson, Marco Ferrari, Lee Luffridge, and Ross Wooten. Did I get those names right?
Yes.
All right. So, quick synopsis from ImageComics.com. Scarlett has fought her way to the Arashikage's. Look at that. I remember how to say that. Final test, a death-defying mission that could change the clan's fortunes. But where do Jinx's loyalties truly lie? In my quick rundown, so we open with Scarlett swimming around with fish in a tank she landed in after jumping at the end of issue 2. Scarlett continues her way through Sato 2, fighting off security forces left and right while planting a bomb in the security envelope. Meanwhile, in Sato 3, Jinx and Storm Shadow take on forces of their own. Scarlett detonates the planted bomb and eventually makes her way to the roof of Sato 2. Once there, she swings her way over to Sato 3, where she rendezvous with Jinx. We close with the weapons buyer landing on the roof of Sato 3 in a helicopter with a Cobra logo visible on the side. Who could that be? Thoughts and review.
Yeah.
Scarlett number 3.
Alias Scarlett, Mission Impossible, alias Jennifer Gardner, whatever you want to call it. Like, oh my god, I love this. This is fun. Unlike the other comic, this is actually fun and it is written well. And I think I had mentioned this to you off air about the voices, and you're like, yeah, I don't see that. And I was like, yeah, but I think this is where I'm more the G.I. Joe person than you are on this, because the whole time I'm reading Kelly's words, I'm hearing classic Scarlett voice from BJ Ward, and I actually sent, like, the whole screen cap that I had sent you. I sent that to Kelly. I sent her an email, and I said, I can't wait to finish the issue, obviously, which I was doing at the time. She says, thanks so much, Mike. Really glad you're enjoying it. And I am. I'm very much enjoying Scarlett. Scarlett is fun. Scarlett is interesting. We have, again, her infiltration into this building. I love the panel on page 11, because it's just one. I'm pretty sure, it's just one panel of her just taking out those guards. That swing motion in the art of how she takes out those guards, that's amazing. And literally the whole time I'm reading this, I'm thinking, yeah, this is very Mission Impossible, and this is very awesome.
You're talking about the slice, kick, and stab.
Yep, the slice, kick, and stab. Yep. Okay. That was amazing. She's got basically Spider-Man type quips with high-paced, action moves and things and whatever else and all that, and it's just fun. And I love the panel, and I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. I don't know if you've seen The Atom Project on Netflix. It's a Ryan Reynolds vehicle. Well, they have to go, it's a time travel movie. They have to go back in time to save his future wife or whatever else, and the future wife is played by Zoe Saldana. And she's a badass in her own right, but at one point she's waiting for the villains to come in the movie, and she's planted an explosive on the bridge that they're going to be driving across. So the panel on page location 18 of 31, the very bottom panel where Scarlett's like, click, and then we see the explosion. That was the first thing I thought of, was the Atom Project, when Zoe Saldana's character did that. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving this. It's just so fun. The art's amazing. The writing's amazing. Everything about this book is, like, I don't think they're gonna do... I mean, Scarlett will obviously be in the G.I. Joe ongoing, but I don't think they're gonna do more solo stuff. But if Kelly was to write a solo Scarlett series, I would be reading that all the time.
With or without the same artist?
No, you keep the same team. Okay. I mean, you could do what Transformers is doing and what most comics will do. You could change the artist over time and things, but no, I like Marco, I like Lee, and obviously Russ is the letterer for everything with Skybound, which is fine.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, yeah, no, I like Marco Ferrari, I like Lee Lockridge. That's fine. I have no problem with that, because I love the art. The art's amazing. I mean, the fact that she's swimming with jaws, I mean, come on, man. That shark doesn't look fake. Not in this comic, anyway.
All right, so my thoughts here. So I'll fully admit to this. I did not purchase this when it came out because it was delayed so long, and then I finally picked it up. I just picked it up a day ago. So I just read it yesterday. And I'm like, well, because again, I'm purchasing this digitally on Amazon. So I'm like, well, they pushed it back so long, I'm just going to wait to buy it. So I finally got it, read it, and I didn't know what to make of it at first because I was very confused about the story. Because I seem to recall from issue 2, with how it concluded, that the whole point of going to these Sato buildings was to recover some sort of weapon.
Right.
And it was like going to be like her final test before, if she was successful, she was going to be part of the Arashikage.
Right.
And from my knowledge of the end of issue 2, she was kind of doing this alone. Obviously, someone was flying in a helicopter or flying her in a helicopter. And then she kind of rappelled down from that on her own.
Yeah.
So as I was reading this, I was confused as to what the hell was going on because... Right, we jump into, I don't know, let's see, what page is this on? On location 14 of 31. Right, there's just Jinx and Storm Shadow just in the building right next to her. It's like, well, how did they get there? There was no mention of them being part of any of this mission. Right, the last we knew, they were inside Jinx was fighting inside the dojo or training someone. and Storm Shadow was meeting with the Master and Scarlett to talk about kind of her final mission, or final test here. So when I started reading this, I'm like, well, how the hell are they part of this at all? I was so confused. And then before we started recording here, I went back to reread the end of issue 2, and I'm like, did I misremember this? And I didn't. It just seems like there are certain story elements here that are introduced kind of like midway through the story of like, what's going on with these characters without any sort of information as to how they got to this point. And that's what confused me.
Was it that there are... How many buildings are there? There are 3, right? Yeah,
There's 3,
Sato 1, 2, and 3, right?
Sato 1 is like the actual real business.
Right.
Sato 2 ended up being kind of where security is, and then Sato 3 is kind of like where the gang is located.
Okay, so it's essentially 3 video game levels, and I'm not saying that to diminish it at all. I'm saying it's 3 video game levels. I'm saying it in a positive light, whereas maybe Jinx and Storm Shadow were in one building and then they went to the other building, kind of like how she's making her way through the endless levels of these buildings. Maybe that's it. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's the only way I can conceive of Jinx and Storm Shadow even being where Scarlett is, because the whole point of this issue, this part of the issue of this entire issue, is them trying to catch her. And they're like, she's on floor this of building this, and she's on floor that of building that. And I'm like, wow, she's descending very, very fast into madness. And I don't mean her actual mental madness. I mean the madness of the building and the violence and the tick, tick, boom and click, click, boom and all that stuff and everything else. And I just overall enjoyed it because, I don't know, maybe I suspended my disbelief a little too much on the whole why Storm Shadow and Jinx are there. Because, well, if they're in the dojo building, yeah, that's it. That has to be it. If they're in the building with all the guards and the dojo and the whatever, yeah. So that's, and if, yeah, so.
So where the Arashikage were, which is where Jinx was, which is where Storm Shadow was, which is where Scarlett was, which is where the Master was in issue 2, that's like a completely separate location, right? Because that's up in the mountains in the snow. And this is like, this is in, where's this at? Is this Hong Kong? Is that where this is located?
I don't remember off the top of my head here. Hold on, I got the...
It's someplace in China.
Currently under...
It's in like the main city, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it Hong Kong?
I don't know. I thought the first page would tell me, but I don't remember. I don't know.
It doesn't say in this particular issue. I think it's Hong Kong, without going back to look at issue 2 while we're recording here. In any case, it's a large metropolitan area, which is complete, not at all the area where they were in issue 2, except for the end, right, where Scarlett gets to the building. My issue was not knowing why Jinx and Storm Shadow were there. Like, it wasn't said or told that they were going to be part of this mission. At the end of issue 2, it just was stated that this is Scarlett's kind of final test, and if she completes it, she's going to become part of the Arashikage. Didn't say that Storm Shadow was going to be part of it, Jinx was going to be part of it, any of it. My assumption was, because they were talking about the weapon that was going to be, or that is housed in these buildings, that was kind of her test. She was going to get that, but now it's now there's 3 of them. So is it her test? Is it their test? Like, whose test is it?
It's her test. It's her test to become a part of the Arashikage. But Jinx and Storm Shadow have been in the other 2 issues. Storm Shadow and Jinx were in issue 2 and all that.
Right, but
I think they just changed location. I think they went to, I'm assuming it's Hong Kong as well. Again, Kelly, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I just assumed, just like she flew there, they flew there. So if they were at the other location, she's in. That's all I'm assuming. Because, heaven forbid, I assume anything. But
so I guess my main issue with it was it wasn't stated they were going to be part of the mission. And now that they're there, it just seems like, they just showed up out of nowhere, and I don't know why. So that aside, another issue I had... and this is just me as I was reading through it the first time, was I was having a hard time keeping up with what level, where the hell
Of the
Scarlett was
building.
at this.
Yeah.
Because it's like anytime she changed levels, it would stay kind of at the top of that panel of like, here's the building she's in, here's the level she's in. But then you would also get characters kind of talking, through
the
walkie-talkies about what level she's on. Oh, she's no longer on this level. She's now on this level. I'm like, what the hell? I'm having a hard time keeping up.
Okay, so the easiest thing for this that I can tell you going further, if issue 4 is more about going further into the levels, or if issue 4 is just about the fight, to location 15, where it says Sato 2, the Tiger, floor 6. Okay, so from that page forward, as long as they say levels lower than floor 6 or lower, it's basically as she's running through. So the same thing when she was on the higher levels, you read it in descending order. So when it starts at the top of the page saying it's floor 6, my thing is, okay, she's going to be going down floor 5, floor 4, floor 3, blah, 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 blah. So as long as the people on the walkie-talkies are saying the right thing, I'm good. And I think they are from that point. And I think they have been the whole issue. It's just, I agree with you, sometimes that can be confusing, but you got to remember where she starts and then where they say she is, because her goal is to reach, instead of having a spy mission where you start at the bottom of the building and have to go up to meet the boss level kind of thing in a video game, you're doing that. It's like Tom Cruise in one of the Mission Impossible movies where he has to slide through the louvers on the roof to get into the... Oh, it's Mission Impossible 2, one of my favorites, where he has to do the go down the atrium and hit on the glass floor, which doubles as a ceiling for the lab to get the Chimera. And that's essentially, honestly, that's what issue 2 and 3 are. It's issue 2 and 3. I shouldn't be looking at issue 4 on imagecomics.com right now, even though it's up on my computer's screen at the moment. But issue 2 and 3, actually the whole thing so far, is essentially Mission Impossible 2. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, I'm saying it is a good thing, whereas you start at the top and you make your way down. So these sometimes may be conflicting reports, where it's because she's moving so fast, they can only report it so fast. So if someone on the 8th floor says she's on the 8th floor, and then 2 seconds later, or 2 panels later, she's on the 7th floor, she's on the 6th floor, is because she's moving so fast to get down to where she needs to be. Does that make any sense?
I mean, only in the sense that I follow what you're saying, but she started on the main floor and worked her way up. So I'm confused as to what you're saying about descending.
Wait, she did?
Yeah, it says Sato 2, the Tiger, floor 1.
Oh, I thought she was still dropping down. I don't know.
No, so she's at the end of issue 2, she jumped, and then she ended up in this fish tank, which was at the main floor, and then working her way back up. So then she ends on the roof, and then swings over to Sato 3 and ends up on floor 47, which just happens to be...
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. She starts going down in Sato 1, I think, and then she goes up in Sato 2 to get to Sato... Okay. Folks, it's evil.
No, as far as I know, Sato 1 is not in here at all. So,
whatever.
It says Sato 2, the Tiger, ground floor. That's like...
Okay, and then she goes up.
4.
Yep.
Okay. So she's just going up. In any case, I had a hell of a time following what the hell floor she was on between what the page was telling me and what the people were communicating. But I stuck with it. I made it through. I think the action in this series is fantastic. And the way that it's drawn, really, really great. I think of the 3 issues, this one was my least favorite simply because I feel like there's story that I'm missing. Like I said, with Jinx at Storm Shadow, why are they there? It wasn't stated they were going to be part of this mission. I think that's my biggest issue with this. I did find it funny, and this is interesting in terms of like a piece of clothing, I guess. Mm-hmm. If you go to the last page, so again, location 24 of 31.
Yep.
Look at those shoes that Jinx is wearing.
Yeah.
High heels with claws on them.
Yeah.
I feel like if she kicks someone, right, she can just slit their throat.
Yeah, pretty much. I learned a long time ago in podcasting, folks, I cannot talk about fashion nor hair because people will come after me.
Well, she could give you a haircut too if she kicked you. So,
Oh, yeah.
so helicopter. Is this Cobra?
Yeah.
Who is this?
No, it's Joe, probably. It's most likely Joe.
It's Joe.
G.I. Joe.
It's Yojo
Probably G.I. Joe.
in the
Most
Cobra
likely.
helicopter.
Oh. Oh. I don't know who's in that helicopter. Alls I know is next time is Soul of the Arashikage.
But you don't think it's Cobra Commander?
It might be. It would be interesting if it was, considering he started in his own series, went to Destro, and now he's wherever.
I mean, so Jinx here says on this last page, Storm Shadow, we have movement on the roof. The buyer has landed. Do you recognize them? And then it ends, and then it says, yeah, next, the Soul of the Rashikage.
So
But the helicopter's black with the Cobra logo.
It might. Well, I mean, buyer says to me Destro, but why would? I mean, I know Destro is a part of Cobra, but he's also his own entity. Who knows? I don't know.
Who else is recognized as Cobra at this point?
Just Cobra Commander and Destro, as far as I know.
So let's look here.
Bigwigs, yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to find Cobra Commander. Issue 5 here. Let's see. We've got so on the last page here, right? It's like or not the last page. It's the last panel with Cobra. It's like, yeah, the people who are living in the town that he's established here. And other than those people, it is Destro, Mercer, and one of the guys from
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Hold on one second here. What are they called? They are called the Dreadnoks.
Oh, the Dreadnoks. Yeah, those guys. Right. Okay.
So I think that's it. So it's got to be Cobra Commander, I would think.
I would assume.
So
I guess. Oh.
But yeah. So overall, again, I enjoyed it. It was a little hard for me to follow. I still wish there was better explanation for Jinx and Storm Shadow, but I still think I still much prefer this over anything coming out of the Destro group.
Yep.
So issue 4 previews. What do you got for us?
Coming. Okay, so folks, I don't know if it's Image Comics. I don't know if it's Skybound under Image or if it's Amazon screwing with us. But as of this recording, arriving September 4th, 2024, Scarlett number 4 of 5 for $3.99. Scarlett has infiltrated the Arashikage for one purpose: locate and extract Jinx. But the true purpose of her best friend's mission becomes clear. It's an enormous game changer for the entire Energon universe. And they have an alternate cover here listed here. So the main cover is Scarlett versus Storm Shadow. It's a black, fade to black kind of cover with their swords kind of clashing in the middle. But the alternate cover is Scarlett standing outside the building in the snow. I love the alternate cover more than the main cover for that. That's so cool. And then Dismal Destro, arriving September 18th, 2024, supposedly, depending on what Image Comics, Skybound, and Amazon end up doing as far as that goes. There is no real solicitation for this. Destro's kill list: Chameleon, Tomac, Zaymot, anyone who gets in his way. That's it.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Yes.
I mean, and that's stupid, right? Because I can't imagine any one of those characters is going to be killed.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I don't think so. And so the main cover for issue 4, at least on the Image Comics website, has Destro. Wait a minute. What was on the main cover of the thing? Hold on a second here. Wait.
It's nobody. They're blacked out.
Yeah, I know, but well, for half a second I thought it was all gonna be like the original main cover to number 3 with him and Chameleon, but it's not. So that's stupid as hell. In the Destro comic, it shows that it's Chameleon, but on the solicitation it's blacked out. Huh?
So kind of on along those lines, I'm wondering because if I pull up my Scarlett, sorry, 1 second. If I pull up Scarlett number 3 inside of the Kindle app, on mine, when it's showing me the library view, right, where I can see all the comics, it says on mine, not final art on the cover for Scarlett number 3.
Yep, it does on mine too.
And then if I actually open it and then look at the full cover, it does not say that.
Yep.
From what I can tell, it looks like it's the same artwork.
Yeah, it's the same artwork.
So I'm wondering if what we're seeing there for Destro number 4 on Image Comics is like the same thing. They just don't have the text on there.
Or they don't have. You mean they don't have the image on there?
Well, the text of not final art.
Oh yeah.
And then they don't have they blacked the character out.
Yeah. See, this makes no. Image Comics, Skybound, you guys above the creative team, you guys who are in charge, all you editors, what the is going on? Get your together.
Yeah, so again, I know you said arriving at whatever such and such a date.
September 18th for Destro, September 4th for Scarlett.
So going back to Destro number 3 here, right? So we typically purchase it from Amazon Comics or
Typically.
whatever it's called from Amazon, read it in our Kindle app. This has been pushed until, is it next week? This coming week. Destro number 3 has been pushed to this coming week. But it was out physically on physically on, what is
August 14th?
August 14th.
Yeah.
Just click on it, yeah.
Yeah, so what they did was, originally it was supposed to be out August 14th for issue number 3. They have now pushed it to this week, Wednesday, August 28th, 2024, which is also Void Rivals Day, which we're getting Void Rivals number 12.
So Destro number 3 on Image Comics, it says August 21st.
Yeah.
For published date.
Yeah.
So not the 14th.
Not the 14th. Yeah, well, okay, fine, whatever. Yeah. They basically just pushed it a week. My thinking was originally they're just going to flip-flop them. They're going to put Void Rivals out last week and then but no, they're just pushing Destro to...
But here's the thing. This only occurs on Amazon.
Yeah.
This is available in the Google Play Store. This is available in Apple Books. You can obviously purchase this physically. So I don't know what keeps happening with the digital releases on Amazon, but it's pissing me off.
Yeah, it's pissing me off too, and I think it's an Amazon thing because I don't think Amazon has their ish together at all because it's Amazon and I don't know what the hell they're doing. But what
could the holdup be? Like, what is the issue?
That's what I'd like to know. And again, that's why I'm coming down on the side of I don't think this is an Image Comics or Skybound Entertainment issue. I think it's an Amazon issue because Amazon doesn't know what the frig they're doing.
Because this has happened with Scarlett. This has happened with
Destro.
Did it happen with Void Rivals? I think it did.
Yes, it did. It's happened with all of them.
It's happened with Transformers too?
I think so.
That's right. I think it has, yeah. So I don't know what the issue is. So for getting a copy of this for Destro for this particular episode, I actually purchased it from the Google Play Store. And again, it was available. I was able to get it. Yep. That pisses me off because it doesn't integrate into the Kindle app and show up with the rest of the Destro comics. But I was able to export it from the Play Store as a PDF, import it into Kindle. It looks terrible in terms of the icon that shows up in there. And obviously it doesn't have the guided view, but I'm able to read it inside the Kindle app. It just does not look as good as what it would be if I downloaded it, natively.
Hey, maybe Amazon is saying, screw all you guys, go back to buying physical books. That's what they're trying to tell us with all these. And I think, I could be wrong, people out there who are comic book fans who might be listening to this, let us know. Is it just Image Comics and Skybound Entertainment? Because I know DC and Marvel have had their delayed issues, but that's usually because of a deadline was missed, or a writer couldn't finish in time, or the art had to be redone, or It wasn't like that's what I'm trying to think. Because this is an Amazon exclusive issue. Hey, look, folks, an Amazon exclusive, but it's a problem. It's got to be with Amazon because if this stuff is ready for everywhere else and it's digital, why would it?
Yeah, it's like I just don't know if there's like I don't know what the process is for them receiving a digital file and then like implementing the guided view. Like, is there some sort of hiccup there that keeps delaying it? I don't know, but
I don't know either.
At least in comics, I'm interested in when new comics come out on Wednesdays. I'm not seeing anything on there that is being delayed that I would be interested in seeing or that I'm looking for when I go to the local comic shop. It all seems to be coming out on time. But with the Image Comics series, at least for the the Energon Universe comics, for whatever reason, it seems to just keep happening month after month, and I'm not quite sure what's going on. I just know it's pissing me off.
It's really weird. It's really, really weird.
Yeah. So, but once the series is done, I'm deleting it from my Kindle. So it's gone. I'm not going to look at it again. Never going to revisit it again. It's just going to be gone. So, all right. I think that's it for the previews, right?
That's it for the previews.
Did want to touch on one other thing really quick. So, Daniel Warren Johnson, you showed me this over the weekend. I read his AMA as well. He's going to be on board through issue 24 of Transformers.
Yep.
So that's 4 story arcs and 2 years worth of comics.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good run. No, that's a good run. Like, most people don't get 24 issues. Most people will get like a single issue arc, like a 1 through 6 or a 7 through 12 or whatever. Comics writers, unless it's like the current Nightwing run at DC Comics that's currently going, it's had several writers over time, and it changes. It changes a lot sometimes. It changes less on the writing in certain aspects, whereas the artist will change almost every story arc kind of thing, and I think that's a good thing with the artist. I don't know necessarily about the writer, but with the artist, it's good because you get to see different art styles as much as we want it to be uniform and all together. But if they're all different story arcs, everybody gets a chance to play in the playground, play in the sandbox kind of thing. But I don't know who they're going to get after him. It's going to be interesting. That's the interesting part to me, is who's next kind of thing.
Well, hey, if once Destro ends, you got a writer looking for some work, maybe.
Okay. Never give that guy a job again. I'm sorry. That's the only.
Well, I'm super happy to see that he's going to stay on board for another year. I'm all for it. I love his writing. I love his art as well. I know we're going to switch when we get to issue 13 and 14. I guess there's a kind of a fill-in artist, and then we're going back to Jorge. So I'm curious to see how the change of artist works as well. But I'm happy that Daniel Warren Johnson's sticking on for another year. And like you, I'm very curious to see what happens when the series picks up a new writer. I want to see if it kind of carries the same tone, if they go in a different direction.
I think they're going to go in a different direction. I mean, I think because it'd probably be a fully new story arc type. It's kind of like when DC does a new number one for what, like, Batman's been around for 85 years this year. So Batman over the last 85 years has always had every once in a while, every few years, a new number one to get the story restarted. And that's the way DC has always done the Batman stories of, here's your chance to write Batman. Here's your chance to write Batman. And then new number one money means, because it's a number one, that means that, DC gets the Big Mac, large fries, and chocolate shake.
I can only throw this out there as the only comparison that I know, because I've recently looked at it. I believe with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? It is, I think, maybe that's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the G.I. Joe series, the Larry Hama series, right? They started with quote unquote 301, but it was labeled as the first issue. So it didn't ignore everything that came before, but it kind of was a new series.
New number one,
new number one. So do you think, again, this is just speculation, just want to hear your thoughts on this. If they do have a new writer, they don't say, all right, we're going back to quote unquote number one. It'll be number 25. but it's a new jumping on point, right? For all
that's
that's
what they'll say. Yeah, that's what they'll say. As long as they keep the numbering, that's what they'll always say is, hey, new story arc, new jumping on point, come check out the new writer. And yes, you can actually use TMNT because for the last X number of, since what was it, 2012? So 2012 to 2024 for the last 12 years? No, longer than that. Jesus, I don't know. Anyway, for the last however the hell long years for TMNT, it's always been Tom Waltz, Bobby Curnow, and Kevin Eastman on the TMNT book at IDW, and then now with them ending their historic run at issue 150, and then Jason Aaron taking over with the new number one, it's IDW saying, hey, we gave you 150 issues over this many years of all of this awesomeness, because all of that is very awesome. We're starting a fresh new chapter with a whole new thing here, which means we're bringing in new writing blood. And I think we've talked about this off air. I'm really excited to see what Aaron does with Turtles. So I'm excited to see and to find out who Skybound gets to write Transformers after Jenny Warren Johnson. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying his writing. Like you said, I'm looking forward to the next year of having more issues with him and having more stories to read from his mind. So that's cool. But at the same time, I'm very interested to see a year from now, or however the hell long it's going to be, who they get next.
I guess one more question for you. I know at some point I did read some of the IDW series, and I'm not talking about More Than Meets the Eye or Robots in Disguise. I guess I can pull it up here and tell you.
Yeah.
It was I don't know. It's the 2019 to 2022 line. It just says,
"Oh, that's
there's a bold new era."
Yep.
So again, I had not read anything prior to that or after that, because I bailed on that series. But is that something similar where it was like it kind of followed stuff that came before it, or this was just a completely brand new thing?
That was a brand new thing. It was
okay.
So again, with IDW, with Turtles and Transformers, when IDW had the Transformers license, Transformers lasted from 2005 until 2019 at IDW. So you do the math on the years on that, but long ass time. They did Death of Optimus Prime as not a reboot, but a retelling into, hey, you can read this, and then you can go to either More Than Meets the Eye or More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise, which then became Lost Light and Transformers Know Nothing after that. And then after those two ended, the historic run at IDW rebooted with the Bold New Era. So the Bold New Era stuff is a whole different separate... It's supposed to be a whole different thing. It's supposed to be a whole new thing. But with Turtles specifically, it is a whole... I think it is supposed to be a whole new thing. And every interview I've heard and read with Jason Aaron is that he's putting his stamp on it. He's doing the story differently than what it had been done the past 12, 13, 14 years, or however the hell long it's been.
Okay. Because with Turtles, and the reason I switched over to G.I. Joe was because I couldn't remember what the Turtle numbering was, if it started with a number one or if it kind of picked up from what it was before. But with Turtles, I was just saying, with Turtles, I thought it didn't wipe away everything that came before it, because again, I have not read all the IDW Turtle stuff. I do have the comics now that I'm going through. But from my understanding, right, it's this new series is kind of picking up from where the old one left off, in the sense that the Turtles were apparently separate, and now they're the new series here. They're trying to come back together.
So my buddy Joe and I, who do the Turtles comics over on the Pullbag on the Geekcast Radio Network, geekcastradio.com/the Pullbag, or it might be /podcast the Pullbag. I don't know. Anyway, geekcastradio.com, folks. My buddy Joe and I have been covering it since 2013 when the Pullbag started. So we started, and I was initially because for me, I've always been a cartoon kid with Turtles. I was 4 years old when Eastman and Laird started the comic. I didn't start Turtles until I was 7 with the cartoon and then the toys and all that and everything else. So I've never really cared about the whole black and white, the whole everybody wears a red bandana no matter what, blah, 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 blah. So when I started reading Turtles, I immediately messaged Joe and I'm like, red bandanas, really? He's like, no, dude, it's okay. There's a reason. I was like, okay. I reluctantly continued on. I opened up my mind, and spoilers for you specifically, in case you're going to read those anytime soon with the IDW starting at number 1 with the Turtles. The reason why they're all wearing the red bandanas is because in the beginning of the original IDW run, Raph is missing. So it's an homage to the fact that he's missing. And then they go through the next 100 issues and do all this amazing stuff. And then Joe and I just, let me actually look, geekcastradio.com. What was the last Turtles book we did? Oh, I think it was issues 151. No, not 151, because it doesn't go past that. 121. I don't know. We did something recently. TMNT, we did that last run in separate. Because the last run was its own story. Anyway, yeah, so we did Reborn Volume 4. So basically what IDW did with it is they kept the same numbering, but the trades they renamed, so that way the ongoing can have the same numbering. So TMNT Reborn is the new trade collected edition title for the ongoing, but it still issues 118 to 123. So the next episode Joe and I will do soon, it will be issues 124 to 127. Well, no, 124 to 131 or something like that. 124 to 130, that's what it is. So it's a whole thing where IDW has this way of continuing stuff, but also rebranding it for certain things. Like I said, Reborn, blah, blah, blah. And we're only at issue 124 about to start. So we're 25 issues left of the original IDW run. Yes, I have read the number 1 by Jason Aaron only because, and Joe has too, and I know you have, only because I knew it was a new number 1 that wasn't going to affect me having not read the end of the historic run at issue 150 with the previous writing team. Does that make any sense? I don't know. My old man brain's about to fart, folks.
We're totally off the rails now.
Yeah, we are. Pretty much. We're talking about all the comics we actually enjoy, folks, instead of the ones that are dismal and we don't want to watch them or read them or do anything with them.
So on that note, plugs, what do you got?
Well, I think I've plugged it enough, haven't I? I mean, I can't.
Again.
Yeah. Geekcastradio.com, the Geekcast Radio Network. We are celebrating our 15th year this year. 15 years ago, Steve Megatron and I debuted the Geekcast Radio Network. Right now, I have been publishing our past episodes that we've done here. I've been doing those in the pullbag, so right now we're up to episode 555 for the pullbag, which is our discussion of Duke and Cobra Commander number 4. So if people want to go over to the pullbag and catch up there. Over on Studio 2009, we have got episodes 88 and 89 out. Episode 88 was a double feature film review of RRR, which you can watch on Netflix. It is a foreign film. I am not a foreign film fan, but that's just me. Along with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which celebrates its 40th anniversary this year. I forgot that film was released in 1984. And then in episode 89, how fitting, because 1989 was 35 years ago, we celebrated Ghostbusters 2 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because those films are both having anniversaries this year. Other stuff on geekcastradio.com, I don't know, go check it out. Altered Geek, Steve has got a new episode of Altered Geek out. We've got Marku 42's Universe. They just released their 380th episode. I've been doing a lot of writing. Actually, I need to catch up on the writing. We've got a whole bunch of stuff over there.
Sounds like a lot.
Yep. Well, I mean, in 15 years, just under 4,000 podcast episodes. So, I'm a machine. I'm a podcast machine.
I'm still waiting for you to do a live 24-hour podcast.
And I'm still waiting for your check for $2,000. That's the only way that's going to... $2,400. That's the only way that's going to happen. Mm-hmm.
It could be fun.
It could be fun. No, it will not be fun. No. It would not. I would need a hell of a lot of alcohol, which I don't drink regularly and at all. And a lot of food. Like, a lot of food.
Yeah. Well, I could order you a pizza.
Well, if you want to, cater the whole thing from Pizza Hut and just have a whole pizza buffet in my apartment, I mean, you're more than willing. You're more than welcome to drive on down here to Anderson, Indiana.
This is why we need to start a Patreon so we could raise the money to do that.
Nobody's going to pay for. I've said this for years. Nobody's going to pay me for my content. There's no way.
My plugs, you can find us at anothercomicreview.com. Maybe that's where you're listening to this now. Maybe it's not. If you're not, head on over there. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/matrix_prime. I guess I will pimp it this week. You can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at Jesse Earley. You can find me on there. And you can find us on Instagram at Another Comic Review as well. I think that's it. I think we've run this show into the ground. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, that's it. So this is Jesse signing off.
Or the beach of the eye.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Pull Bag. Check us out next time when we'll be doing more syndicated episodes here at the end of 2024. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.